What's up? What's up? Welcome back, everyone, to the third episode of the Dirty Slam podcast. Now, I'm going to just let y'all know a little transparency. We had already started recording this once. Wi-Fi cut out. We're grinders. We're back. No other podcast would do it for y'all, all right? So it's bright and early on this beautiful Overreaction Tuesday. We got a great day planned for y'all. Jack Mitchell's coming on the first segment. He's going to do some overreactions. You're not ready for it. Then we got Joshua Roddy to finish off the day. We're going to be looking at the spreads and lines later and seeing his dirty slam of the week. All right. Question of the day: are the bods dead? Somebody tell me. I need to know, are the rods bods annihilated? All right. We have a lot of great content lined up for this week. We're going to be covering this week's worth of content. So let's go ahead and get into the results and overreactions. All right. First segment of the day, we're going to be welcoming the Jerry Jones of the DGFL, Jack Mitchell. Big bad Jack, coming off of last year where he scored the most points in the league. This year, he has a chance to take that same crown. How you doing, Jack?
I'm doing great today, Matt Don. I'm doing fantastic. People say I'm Jerry Jones due to our similar management styles and the fact that we both own America's team, the Cowboys and the Turtles, baby. Jerry and I also know how to draft the best in our leagues, honestly. Oh, yeah? And then we wake up every morning and piss excellence off of our mega yachts, you know? So okay. that's exactly why I'm the Jerry Jones of the league.
So you basically in a love relationship with an 80-year-old man is what I'm hearing.
No, I'm just saying we're very similar. Oh, you know? We both have mega yachts and like.
You have a mega yacht.
Yeah.
Okay.
GTA.
Oh, GTA. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to go visit that someday virtually because it's not real. Anyways, all right, Jack. There's a lot of good content we're gonna have to go over this week, but the one everybody wants to know: are the bods dead? 3 straight weeks under 110 points. Seems like his team is coasting into the playoffs. They don't care anymore. What do you have to say?
Oh, 100% J-Rod's team is done. Hopkins with 8.6, really. Hopkins, really. Trying to say he's a part of the big three and can't survive man week. No. Come on, Rods. Use that thing that is apparently your mascot now and put 2 and 2 together. You'll never be a member of the big three, no matter how much you wish. You're not even in the Snap group chat, dude.
Oh, wow. That's
harsh. Do you even have Snapchat on Androids?
Oh.
I don't know. I don't care. Point is, bods are done. And they're going to be in for a rude awakening for the playoffs. I mean, even this week, hell, they're facing their kryptonite this week. The J-Jollers. We're coming in hot after a spicy, unknown rivalry with the Pillas. Am I right, Matt Don? That was spicy.
Spicy. I don't know if I like it because the Pillas are supposed to be my rival, or I mean the Mafiosos. We got to keep those separated. I am not the Mafiosos owner. My bad. All right. Like you said, the Bonds have a tough rival matchup this week. They just got crushed on the back half of Man Week 2.0. It might turn into Man Month. We might talk to the Mafiosos later in the week to clear that up, all right?
Oh, baby.
Do you think his team has the moxie to make it to the ship?
I don't think so. I really don't. And I think the J-Jollers wipe the floor with the Bods again this week and hand them their third loss for the season.
Okay. Well, bettors, everybody, all the bettors out there, listen here. Take the Jollers to cover, apparently, because Jack Mitchell's saying they're going to cover and they're going to wipe the floor with the man, all right?
That's who I'm taking in my bet.
That's tough. You know, the Rods Bods, first team to clinch the playoff. They already clinched the bye week in their respective division. The weaker division, I've heard, Division 2, has been known to not be good, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So you say the Bods are going to struggle this last week. You say they're coasting in, they're done for. Do you think they have a shot at beating whoever is going to come out of that first round of the playoffs?
Honestly, no. I really don't. I think they'll be lazy after the bye week. I think they're going to go out, party too much, and then they're going to be sloppy. Because chances are they're either facing the Mafiosos,
okay,
who they're one of my favorites to win this thing right now.
Oh, oh,
Just coming in like they're
oh,
showing out right now. They're getting hot
oh.
right before the playoffs.
Okay.
For the Swines,
Mm-hmm.
who are last year's champions,
Yeah,
and they are a force.
they're a force.
We understand that they don't have Kittle. I understand, but they're still nasty. They won this thing last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. So what we're getting at here is that it's thoughts and prayers, T's and P's for the Bods. You're dead. All right. We also just want to take a little segment here at the beginning, just a short thoughts and prayers out to Joey Burrow. All right. Bad injury. T's and P's to Joe Burrow. T's and P's to the Bods. You got anything you want to say about that,
Heartbreaking.
Jank?
I mean, it's just a shame. You wouldn't wish that on your worst enemy. As a former athlete, former football player, I know I went through it, Joe Burrow, and my only advice for you is stick through it, man. Keep that same energy. Wake up every day hungry. You're gonna come back stronger from this, baby. I got faith in you.
Honorable man Jack Mitchell is. All right. Next question. This is a team you just talked about. Not necessarily your favorites to win the whole thing, but you think they could go on a run. Has Man Week revitalized the mafioso organization?
Oh, 100%. They're my second favorite behind the Turtles again.
Mm-hmm.
And after showing out in Man Week, he got Mahomes for a steal. I mean, he
Yeah.
finally decided to play DJ Moore. The momentum is on the mafioso side.
Dude,
And
I can
that
honestly
really
tell you, inside sources, I got some guys in the back doing typing. They got, Twitter, DMs, everything. Mafioso's organization, idiots in the front office. They don't know what they're doing. Starting Darnell Mooney over DJ Moore in the first man week of ever, the inaugural man week. They started Darnell Mooney. Can you believe that? The guy
No,
got good reps.
I was like, what are you doing, mafiosos? What are you doing?
Honestly,
Come
idiots there. Absolute doofuses. All right. Darnell got good reps. The Panthers and the Buccaneers have a bye week, the first round of the playoffs, actually. So hopefully those man week reps are going to come in handy because Darnell is going to have to start in approximately 2 weeks. So, we'll
tough,
see.
tough for the mafiosos.
Yeah, we'll see how the mafiosos get into that. Anyways, we're going to be talking about the mafiosos here. Huge win over the Bonds. Should have been win over the big bad, big old lengthy Cox last week. Peacocks, that is, my bad. If the manager, like we said, would have just started DJ Moore.
100%. But
Mm-hmm.
in the mafioso's defense, what a turnaround from this season and last season.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable. And honestly, no shot the Pills can do that this offseason draft. I mean, maybe if the mafioso's owner can put some more trades on Reddit for the Pills, maybe that'll help. But I don't think that'll happen.
I heard. I don't know if it was Adam Schefter for the DGFL. Somebody put out that, or maybe it's just rumors floating around that the Pillows don't even do their own trade research and that they just.
They I don't know. I'm not going to speak on the.
Oh, okay, that's
on
good.
the Pillows.
Good honor. Good honor.
It fires me up.
We might get the Pillows in here later this week, talk about their trades, talk about what they're doing to research. Are they doing anything? Who knows? Are the Pillows dead? Who knows? They've been dead for a while, I think. Anyways.
They have one win. Is that right?
Ooh, no,
they got one win.
I think it's two. I think it's two.
Oh no, they're 1-10. They're 1-10.
Okay, so that's significantly worse than the 2-11 mafioso, or I guess back then it was the Screaming Beans. I guess it was back then. Since branding change, mafiosos de veggie, they doubled their win count. Anyways, I don't think the Pillows have any shot in Hades at beating the mafiosos this week, even if Thielen has COVID. Even if, honestly, I heard people saying that the mafiosos won't even start Mahomes just to flex on the Pillows and show hey, we don't even need this dude to beat you. What's your take on that?
I am all in on this energy right now from the mafiosos. I am digging these rumors. I hope it happens. Holy cow. That's some BDE right there. That's for the brand mafiosos de veggie. Let's put the Pillows in their place. They're already under the dirt, but just stomp on their grave a few times. I mean, holy cow.
I will say, getting away from the football discussion, your outfit today is absolutely stunning.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it. Like, dress for success. I mean, me and Jerry.
Oh
I've
yeah.
said it before. Jerry, I wear this hat every meeting. Like, come on.
You know, a lot of owners wish they could be you, wish they could have your team, Jack. All right. Anyways, sorry. No need to get into this. We'll get to the Turtles later, but you mentioned these two teams, the Turtles and the Mafiosos. Are they looking like the two hottest teams going into
Oh,
the playoffs?
100%. 100%.
Okay. No need to answer that further. Easy question.
Yeah, yeah, that was good.
I feel the same way, even though I represent nobody from the Mafiosos organization, unbiased. All right,
Yeah.
next question. This is a big one. This is going to hit a little close to home. Is the Big Three a sham?
No, okay. All right. I would like to just address this now. The big three is still the big three. We're still in the group chat. We still texting it every day. But there is one member. His team's terrible.
Okay,
The,
care to
the,
elaborate?
the frogs are so bad.
Oh, no.
They're so bad. But he's rebuilding. But like, all right, let's take this for example. As an owner in this league, I would never admit that I'm sad or that I'm losing after just two players play. What? The Frogs should have won this game.
Mm-hmm.
Peacocks have been down recently, and honestly, they're looking sloppy. They're struggling. They can't break 100 points. Like it's not looking good for the Peacocks over there.
Oof.
And if I'm Felipe in my portable habitat,
Okay.
pardon my French here, but I'm losing my shit. I'm pissed off. Should have won this game. Now they may not even make the playoffs. Long ride home for Felipe and the Frogs. It's just heartbreaking. I mean, spending all this money on marketing for your team, but you can't even win the easy games. It's terrible. It's just terrible.
Anyway, we're gonna come back to that Peacock nonsense later, but I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
You say the Frogs are disappointing, the Big Three right now.
Yeah.
You mentioned Felipe the Frog losing his
Yeah.
shit, you said. Do you
Yeah.
think maybe all of this branding and Felipe himself might be the reason that team morale is low? Do you think that you think the players are thinking like the owner thinks more about the Frog brand than they do the actual team?
Honestly, yes. I think that's a major factor. Like bringing Felipe into the locker room, just like towards the end of the season, like you're getting ready for the playoffs, and then it's just a distraction. Like it ruins the locker room, like chemistry. Now, the Frogs have traded most of their assets away, just about everyone good on their team, but I don't know. Like it's just not good. I would never do that.
Yeah.
I mean, off season, if I was looking into buying a turtle, which I might be, I don't know. I'm doing it after the season because I don't want to ruin that locker room chemistry. You know,
you're bringing in you're bringing in a big presence there if you're just throwing a mascot in the mix when your team's on the way to the playoffs. You know, I get what you're saying.
Exactly.
So, you know, you mentioned you might get a turtle. We're also, I heard word on the street, my boys in the back, they're typing up, they're looking at things online. They see that there's a possible peacock in the mix for the Peacocks, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to bring that up. We'll get into that later. We're still in the frog segment, all right? Huge rivalry matchup against the Swines this week. This is determining playoff berth for the Frogs. It's in their court. Who do you think wins? Can the Frogs stand true to their Big Three name?
No, I really don't think so. And it breaks my heart. But the Swines have been here before. They know what they're doing. They have a great owner. Wears tight collared shirts. He's the guy. He's the guy. And I don't think the Frogs are ready to play with the big dogs yet. You know,
like even though they're Big Three, no big dogs for the Big Three.
No, he's not. He's Big Three, but like he's no Big Three. You know, like how much does he weigh? Like 140 pounds soaking wet.
Oh no!
Their owner, the Frogs owner, needs to hit the weight room. He says he's toned. He's not. He's not Big Three. No.
This is what we like on Overreaction Wednesday. Just straight up coming at people's body size. All right. That's all I got for the big three. You got any statements you want to say on this segment? Because I know it's a little close to home. You might have something you want to go off. If not, we're going to move into the Cox.
Yeah. No, Big Three's chilling. I think
Sweet.
two members are going to represent the Big Three in the playoffs,
That's
and
tough.
one will just watch at home.
Last question. Would you be happy if all the big three made it into the playoffs, or would you rather if, say, the Chester's Cheese Boards beat them out?
100%, I'd be happier if the Big Three made it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ches put up a great fight this past week against the Turtles.
Was it really? Was it really a good
great
fight?
It was a lot of effort there from Ches. I can't even lie on this segment. Ches, your team is not good. It's not. Oh my gosh.
Now we're
Breaks
just
my heart.
flaming teams. All right, you heard it here first. We want the big three in, but chances are he can't step up to the plate. All right. So we talked about the Cox. We'll get into them real quick. We'll let the Cox come in through the back. All right.
Okay.
They're really it's a case of the bonds all over again. Are the Cox dead? You know, the Peacocks. Do you have anything surrounding them? I don't have many questions around the Peacocks because Josh Allen's not been great. Todd Gurley's not been great. Aaron Jones, he's been injured and then he came back. He's been all right. I mean, I don't even know who else. He doesn't even have a tight end. I don't think it's probably just the dude for the Dolphins. What's up with this team?
So I'm gonna talk about my favorite team in this league while we're talking about the Peacocks here.
Okay.
My Weenie Wolves, they're my favorite organization by far.
Okay.
I just love how they ran, even though like half the things they do don't make sense to me. And I would never do it myself, but like, man, I love the fire and the energy from the owner when he says something that tease me up.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And he also like we'll get into that later. But
Yeah.
the trade that the Peacocks and the Weenie Wolves did, I think the Peacocks have a lot going for them now,
Sure. Because
and it's kind of scary.
we're looking at a top three pick there. You know, we're looking
Yeah.
at Najee, Etienne, somebody else, Chubo, maybe, I don't know, whoever that third guy is, for essentially the Dolphins next year's backup running back and a late first. I mean, we'll see how that turns out.
Exactly. So I think the Peacocks step it up next season
I
because of
think they
that
do too.
horrendous trade. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, because the Peacocks are going to need a fill in for Gurley because that dude's about as old as I don't even know
Done.
something dinosaur bones. Anyways, Peacocks are going to need some real help this offseason. They're going to need some real help next season. All right. So our next segment here. Are the Rambling Rubber Duckies just making excuses at this point? I mean, their team is riddled with injuries. It seems like nobody's even stepping up. We have plenty of other injured teams. So why does he think he's so special to be like, oh, I have injuries. I can't make the playoffs? You know, give me your
Oh,
insight there.
oh, Mathon, I've been waiting for this segment. Just know I have been waiting for this segment. The
Okay.
Duckies are the most overrated team in this fantasy football league.
Wow.
The owner claims he's played Dynasty before and all this crap. Then you look at his team and you're like, really? Are you sure you played this before, bud?
Doesn't seem like it.
No, not at all. Like, come on now. He's claiming Joe Mixon is elite. That's a joke. He can't even hold Dalvin Cook's jockstrap.
Oh,
He can't even grow a mustache like Giovanni Bernard.
dude, I'll tell you what, not many players can hold Dalvin Cook's jockstrap. It's probably enormous.
I've seen it. It's huge. It's massive.
Okay, yeah, let's not talk about this anymore.
Right,
I apologize.
I would like to just like take a moment here.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're getting real on Overreaction Tuesday.
Okay, let's get real. Bring it to me.
Like we're gonna look real deep down into yourself. I want you to close your eyes if you're listening to this. Now ask yourself this. Are you really shocked that the Duckies lost to the Swines? No, not one bit. Like the Duckies are terrible. Ramble on. Yeah, you want to ramble on to the end of the season because your team's a joke. Oh my gosh. So bad.
Okay.
So bad.
Okay. So I think we're gonna be having Josh Roddy on here. Dude's an expert on what it takes to make the playoffs. We're gonna be talking about that, but I think the Duckies can still make it. I'm not really sure. Correct me if I'm wrong if you know, but do you think they do you think that they'll make the playoffs and do you think they have a better shot of making the playoffs than the previous member of the big three we talked about, the ferocious frogs?
Honestly, it's rivalry week. You know who the Duckies have this week.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
Daddy.
yeah.
It's Dad. It's the Duckies' father. The Turtles. Like they're done.
So they
Their
got no shot.
playoffs. Their playoff hopes are gone.
Okay.
But like I'm curious to see the rookie matchup this week
Mm,
between what's his is it
CD?
CD
Yeah.
CD? Yeah, I don't really care.
And
He's kind
Justin
of irrelevant.
Jefferson?
No one uses CDs anymore. You know, it's dumb. And then Justin Jefferson, the goat,
Okay.
the gritty king, the
Oh,
gritty
okay.
king, the best dancer in the league, rookie of the year. Oh my! Gritty King is literally about to wipe the bathroom floor with the rubber duckies because the bathtub is overflowing from where he just grittied. Like I'm telling you right now,
You know,
Jefferson's coming for the duckies' heads.
we don't even know what that means, but we don't have to because we understand your sentiment. You're gonna smack the man's cheeks like Adrian Peterson beat his kids. I don't even know. It's
Exactly.
it'll be tough. Last question about the RR Duckies. You can kind
Mhm.
of go off on this piece if you have a different tangent to input as well. Are you proud to have the Duckies as a rival?
Oh no, not one bit. No, I'm embarrassed. This is it's honestly like I get 2 bye weeks before the playoffs. Like my guys are going to be so well rested before these playoffs. It's going to be like, oh, I feel bad. Like it's literally 2 bye weeks.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense. That makes sense. I kind of feel the same way, not from a personal feeling because I have no allegiance to a team, of course, but because my guys in the back, they're getting insight from the mafiosos. Also, feel
mhm.
like the Pillas are a bye week, so they're feeling good about this week. You got anything else to say about this? Sorry for cutting you off.
No, I mean, I remember when the Duckies owner called me up the day of the draft this past year, and he was freaking out about who I was going to draft, and he traded up to my pick, and I traded back, and I got the Gritty King.
Mm.
He got that bum CD, and I
Hmm.
also got my boy Van Jefferson, who
That's
might
true.
as well be Justin Jefferson's twin brother, and he scored a touchdown
He
last night.
did.
His
He
first
did.
his first of the year. I'm
Anybody
excited.
on anybody on Twitter could have known how elated the Turtles organization was seeing all the retweets flying for the Van Jefferson first touchdown of the year. So we really like
Oh
the
yeah, the
Turtles.
turtles. The turtles love retweeting.
Yeah, the turtle. We love the enthusiasm. The enthusiasm from the Turtles team. All right, we're gonna love your enthusiasm in this next segment. Did the Jollers back up their trash talk against the Pillows, or did their win really feel like a loss to them?
If I'm the owner of the J Jollers, I'm embarrassed. I'm a little embarrassed.
Mm,
A lot of talk coming from both teams. I mean, the Pillows they lost their quarterback, and so did Jay Jollers lost some key players as well.
mm-hmm.
But it was just a sloppy game
Yeah.
between both of them. It was hard to watch, and I don't know. I would be a little shaken up if I was the Jay Jollers, but they're still going to beat Rod's Bods this week.
Oh,
They're gonna wipe the floor with Rod's Bods, but
okay.
like
Okay. I like
they
that
got to
take.
get some new guys in there.
I,
They got to get some new guys in there to replace the injuries.
I don't even know what the Jollers need to make the playoffs at this point. They're pretty far back, I think. I think they need a win and then the Frogs to lose or something like that, and then a bunch of points scored. We'll get into that with Rod later, unless you happen to know it. Anyways, so they barely covered. I don't think this win was meaningful at all for the Jollers. I think their team is beaten down. They had to do a branding switch from Josh Jacobs to I don't even Jerry Judy at this point. I mean, Josh Jacobs was feeling a little down, so he does what he always does and puts up a running back 2 performance. I don't know, dude. Josh
Mm-hmm.
Jacobs, like Joe Mixon for me, feels a little overhyped for what he's putting up.
I agree.
I'm overreacting here, of course. I would rather have David Montgomery on my team, because the
Yeah.
guy has a sweet name, Opportunity. He's got the opportunity. All right. Anyways, that's just me. What are you looking to do with the remainder of your season if you're the GM of the Jollers? Trade deadline's coming up on Thursday. On Spicy Boy Thursday is a trade deadline. What are you looking to do at the end of the season, knowing that you could make the playoffs if something banana bonkers happens, but likely you're not going to make the playoffs? Are you trying to make any trades for picks next year, or are you just rocking and rolling with your team? Feel free
Me
to give any
personally,
insight.
I'm trading Julio. I'm trading Julio.
Mm-hmm.
That's his number one J Joll or whatever. But man's getting old.
Yeah.
He's injury prone, but he's a freak on the field. So
Yeah.
you wanna talk to like one of the better teams and sell him cheap. Try to get some picks. Try to get some rookies on your team.
What do you think?
All the help you can get.
What do you think Big Dog Julio's price is at about this stage in his career?
So how old is he? He's 31. He's been in the league 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
I give him 1-2 years, maybe max.
Oh, okay.
I'm
You're not shipping
I'll
off
offer.
anything hasty though, are you? If you're looking to
No,
trade that?
no, I'm not. If as an owner in this league, I'm not giving him more than a second.
That's tough. That's really tough because Julio, once the best wide receiver in the game, has fallen from grace. Now it's Justin
However,
Jefferson, apparently.
however, means Ridley's going to be stepping up.
Okay, okay.
Wide receiver one.
We will not be having any of this talk at the moment. All right.
Mhm.
Uh, so in the other side of this last week's matchup, we have the Pillas. The question I want to do is like, what's the future looking like for the Pillas? Rumor has it from whoever does the trade posts on Reddit for the Pillas. Rumor has it is they were in some talks at possibly trading up to get maybe Christian McCaffrey or Tyreek Hill. I don't know. I don't want to be
Yeah,
divulging any organizational secrets here on
yeah.
Overreaction Tuesday. What are the Pillows looking to do at the trade deadline? Do you think they're getting anything done, or do you think they're just going to roll with their garbage team till next year until injuries?
So as the owner of the Turtles, I'm going to put to rest right now. We're not getting rid of any of our guys until
Mm-hmm.
after the season. That's the fact. If I'm the Pillas, though, I'm I don't know if you trade for a guy like CMC, you give a lot for him, and you'll have if I'm the Pillows, I'll have the two best running backs in the league. I'll have Saquon Barkley, who's coming back next year, and Christian McCaffrey. I mean, it's simple. It's
Yeah.
simple.
That's some serious humility to not even argue for Dalvin Cook in that location, because I think he might be up there in the discussion for top 2 running back.
I remember one of the commissioners saying how overrated Dalvin Cook is because of
Yeah.
how injury prone he is.
Mm.
But that guy doesn't know how to play dynasty football. Like you, if
Yeah.
you know who I'm referring to. Like you take one
Mm.
look at his team, you go,
That's
bummy.
tough. That commissioner, I don't know much about being a commissioner, obviously, so I don't want to like give him a hard time, but he
Yeah,
is known for some underhanded movements where putting out a trade and then reverting it, it's just,
because he didn't do his research. And
yeah.
there are a lot of scandals with this guy. I
Mm-hmm.
really think that the committee needs to sit down and talk over like if we need a new commissioner. Like I would be happy to step in as the new
Okay, yeah.
commissioner. Like,
I would love you as the commissioner, honestly.
yeah,
Just being outside of the league and
yeah.
an unbiased source. I feel like you'd be great. Having you on here, I just feel like you're a calming presence to the league, and that you'd be a
No, right?
wonderful leader. Okay.
Yeah, I could not agree more.
Okay, sweet. So The next segment is obviously going to be about you. We brought you in here because we want to get inside the head of the Screaming Turtles organization, what's going on at the end of the season, how you're looking at matchups. But just want to give you the floor. Anything you wanted to overreact to before we got into your team's whiz biz?
No, I think we covered everything. Honestly,
Sweet.
I'm happy with how this segment's been going.
Yeah, I'm happy with how you're looking, buddy. I think you're okay.
Stop it,
Sorry,
dude.
unprofessional. Unprofessional. I'm
Stop
sorry.
it,
I'm sorry.
man.
Okay, we're coming in. We're coming in with tough questions to start. Everyone wants to know what's going on with Lamar. Didn't the guy say that like defenses knew what he was doing before he was even doing it? Are you nervous about him leading your team into the playoffs?
No, not one bit. Not one bit. So I blame the offensive coordinator 100%
Mm,
for Lamar's trouble.
okay.
They're calling out the plays. They know exactly what they're doing. Like it's not Lamar's fault. That's the OC. So, and I don't know if some of these listeners saw, but I was retweeting some Mark Andrews interviews, and I am just proud that he's a part of our locker room. Such a stand-up guy,
Mm.
man on the field, man off the field, just a grown man.
We love men here on this show.
Big sweaty men, gotta love
Okay.
them.
Okay.
But no, I'm not nervous about Lamar one bit. And honestly, I prefer the situation that I'm in from a fantasy standpoint. As a fan, it's really, really questionable, really disheartening to see that the Ravens are chasing in the hunt for a playoff spot now. But it means Lamar's got to produce. It means my boy Mark Andrews has got to produce.
Yeah.
Maybe Marquise Brown does something. That would be
Oh,
wonderful.
yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We did see that Marquise tweeted earlier in the year that he's a little bit salty. The Army doesn't use all of their soldiers. Could that be a shot at the OC? Probably. Does he want
100%.
out of the Ravens? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Can Lamar throw? It's the question, and everybody's been asking since the beginning of time. I think Lamar can throw. You might hate to hear it. I don't think he's that good, though. Honestly, I'm sorry. We'll talk
Did
about it
you
later.
watch the Did you watch the Mark Andrews touchdown last week? Did you see
Uh,
that?
you know, it's probably just like
Dot
every other Mark Andrews touchdown,
dot
honestly. Anyways,
dime piece.
we're not here to hash out Lamar Jackson's value. He's obviously the MVP last year. Last year, he in my redraft league, not any obviously because I'm not a part of this league. I can be in a
Mhm.
redraft league. I know that the commissioners don't want y'all being a part of any leagues, other than this one. But
Mhm.
for me, as not an owner of the league, I was a part of a redraft league last year. Got Lamar in the last round. He won me my chip last year. So I'm fond of Lamar Jackson.
Big time.
I'm fond of the Ravens. Anyways, we'll move into the next point. You're not nervous about
Mhm.
Lamar. Who are your biggest three contributors that you've had this season? Like, who do you think are your three favorite guys that have come out every week and just balled out? And do you think they'll keep carrying you in the playoffs to the chip, or do you think they got a struggling schedule, like some tough matchups, and other guys will step up? What do you think?
100%. I love all my guys.
Yeah,
I'm a team guy.
for
Locker
sure.
room's fantastic. Every time we walk in, it's all love, all great stuff. But Dalvin has really stepped up this year. He's been a leader for our team. Really, really great stuff on his part. Tyreek Hill, love the man.
Mm,
He's a goon in the locker room.
yeah,
He's just funny as hell.
dude's a little silly.
Little cheetah. And then the new guy that we got, Justin Jefferson. Oh my gosh, he taught everyone how to do the gritty first day when he showed
Mm,
up. And
hmm
it was electric. But I'm excited for all our guys. I think Ridley's going to have a big playoff presence, especially with Julio out, and my boy Zeke's coming back. So I'm really excited to see
Yeah.
how Zeke does in the playoffs. Maybe we get McCaffrey back. We'll see. But
That
Mike
would be
Davis has been a solid substitute as well.
yeah. I think
So
getting Christian back would be lovely for your team. I'll tell you what, old Gary Gilbert and the Cowboys. I don't even know. Did he even start this last week? Was it Andy Dalton?
it was Andy Dalton.
Okay, so it wasn't old Gary Gilbert. I'll tell you what,
No.
that quarterback situation is troubling, but good to see Zeke getting in the end zone, Zeke
Yeah.
feasting. You got that nose ring or whatever it is. You like to see the dude
The
just
ball.
absolutely slamming into kids, all right?
Oh, love slamming a meat.
Okay, this is terrible. We're gonna get flagged by the FCC or something. Anyways, you're likely to get a bye this year unless something banana bonkers happens at the end of the
I'm pretty
season.
confident with my
Yeah,
matchup this week.
I would
So
also be
we'll see.
confident. The Duckies are looking sucky. Oh, that's a pretty good rhyme, I'll tell
Ooh,
you.
ooh, I
All right,
like that.
what do you have to say about what happened to you in the past? Obviously there's some hurt wounds
Yeah.
there over last year. What do you have to say about what happened? Does it fuel the vets in the locker room, or is it more of a peace of mind that you don't have to have that issue this year?
It is 100% fuel.
Hmm.
We were livid again. We blame that one commissioner who shan't be named. Um, he didn't give us a bye, and we deserved one. We were the
Hmm.
best team in the league. We didn't get a bye, and we would have played him the next week, and we would have dropped 195 points on him, and there's no shot he would have covered, and then we would have been in the championship. So it is very disheartening to see someone so malicious, so like in it for themselves, so like greedy as at commissioner. It really bothers the turtles, and we're definitely using it as fuel this week. This week, he's our rival,
Yeah,
hadn't beaten us,
yeah,
and we're gonna make our presence known in the playoffs this year. Our
that's
our
good.
kryptonite, the bare necessities. Great name, by the way. Just you got to rebrand that. Like it's you got to do some rebranding over there. But our kryptonite is not in the playoffs. Shocker, shouldn't have
Mhm.
been last year. And we're excited.
Because it was an 8-team playoff last year, so they did sneak in when they didn't deserve it.
Yeah,
There's a lot of bad blood there, to say the
yeah,
least.
yeah.
Um, it's gonna fuel the vets in the locker room. You said. So
Mhm,
you got the injuries with CMC, and Zeke's got a weird situation. How are
mhm,
you setting lineups for each of the rest of the week? We kind of talked to the Bods last week about how they're setting lineups, and he
mhm,
said they have consistent starters, but I mean, that just did not work against the Mafiosos because their consistent
mhm.
starters stunk.
Yeah.
So do you have those pillar guys you're always going to play regardless, or do you try and get fancy and do some matchup research and go for the guys that might blow up a week?
So so this playoffs, I think I'm gonna be very aware when it comes to Ezekiel Elliott and who
Mhm.
he's playing. Because again, he lost Dak. Dak's on the Duckies, of course. And injuries.
Whoa, 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 hey,
But
bro.
we'll see. We'll see how Zeke does. We're gonna start him this week. We're gonna start him this week. And real dagger, P Ryan. Lemkel P Ryan's out. That he could have been another option.
That's sad.
He's going to be the number one back to the Jets. I mean, it's Jets, but we'll see. And then Giovanni Bernard, better than Joe Mixon. He's
That's
been
true.
producing so much more than Joe Mixon these past couple of weeks. It's a great mustache, great guy,
Yeah.
just an
It's
absolute goon.
it's statistically known that if you have a great mustache, you are likely to be a great NFL player. I don't
And
know where I
one
got
of
that
our,
stat. Probably from the boys in the back, honestly. We'll get fact check on that. What else you got?
I'm excited about this new guy who we got in our locker room. He was dealing with injury and really trying to get set in his team. But Michael Pittman has been doing
Ooh.
solid these past
Mm-hmm.
couple of weeks, and we might stick him in there.
Old
I mean,
P
who
Rivers loves
knows?
the guy.
Yeah, he's a beast. His dad played in the NFL. He's got the genetics. He's got a lot of stuff going for him. And I don't know. I wish I was playing the J Jollers,
Mm.
honestly, so I could just put Pittman in there and see
Oh,
how Hawkinson does.
yeah, get a little
Steal.
some would say that Hawk is a top 3 or 4 tight end dynasty asset. I mean, honestly, it doesn't compare to having a solid wide receiver 1/2 on your team. I mean, unless it's Kelsey, because that's like basically starting a third or fourth running back on your because the
Yeah,
dude's putting up 25.
yeah.
Honestly, if I was a league owner, I would love to have him on my team.
Yeah.
Off topic.
Him or Mark Andrews.
Yeah. Mark's pretty good too. Mark's pretty good.
Mark's
Anyways,
top three.
um, I lost my place. We talked a little about the Duckies earlier, but I just
Mhm.
wanted to ask you can answer this in one word. Do they scare you at all? They're fighting for playoff berth. They might put up a fight. Do you think they go all out at the trade deadline and secure a guy to try and dethrone you to get in?
I dare them to. I dare them to, honestly. I mean, you got Devontae Adams. That's it. When I look at your team, it's like, oh, Devontae. That's it. Alex Smith, Nick
I mean,
Chubb for Tyreek Hill.
he's got Stephon Diggs too. And dude's also a top 5 receiver. I don't know.
He's okay. He's okay. He's no Justin Jefferson.
Okay. And
Or
then,
or Tyreek or Calvin Ridley. We'll see. Calvin Ridley is a true wide receiver, not one this week, and
that's
I'm excited
true.
to see that. Same with Justin Jefferson, honestly. So we've got all wide receiver ones on this team, and
Hmm.
we're excited. We're excited for this matchup.
That's wonderful. I know you're excited. We're gonna be seeing a lot of back and forth on Twitter. I bet a lot of back and forth in the league group chat. I've just heard about that. Obviously, I don't know what that is. Anyways, getting away from the players and the matchups, are you don't need to divulge any organization secrets, but are you looking to make some solid moves before the deadline hits, or are you just gonna cruise in with the dudes you got?
Yeah, I actually reached out to one person this morning, and he asked for way too much, and I told him no.
Mm-hmm.
So we-
Gotta love standing your ground for your guys.
yeah, it was childish. It was honestly childish. It was like,
Unreasonable.
yeah, I mean, I played him this past week, and
Oh,
he
so we know
sucked.
exactly who it is.
Yeah, and he did terrible. And I was like, hey, you really have no use for these guys. Like, honestly, like, what if we do a deal? And he asked way too much and wasn't given much in return. And I was like, no, I'm okay.
For all the listeners at home that don't know who he played last week, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It was the Chester's Cheese Boards.
Yeah.
The Chester's Cheese Boards, you heard it here first. They're unreasonable. They're asking way too much. Will they make it to the playoffs? Probably. I think so. I think they will, honestly. I don't know. I was going to say no, but then I looked in my heart of hearts. I think they'll do good. Anyways, this is the turtle segment. We got to focus on the turtles. You say you're not really making many moves. You might just be asking around to see what the prices are on people.
Mhm.
Um, so with that being said, your squad's likely not to change that much. So the last question, this is the Dirty Slam podcast. So this is for the
Mhm.
bettors out there. This is for the people
Mhm.
who want to know what's going on in the locker room, what's going on with the team so they can get the most bang for their buck. Who do you think has the highest
Mhm.
potential to pop off this week against the Duckies? And you got to, as of right now, I think the line maker, whoever he is, he put him out early this morning. He put the line out. It's a 34.5 point right now. It's likely to change barring
Mhm.
injuries
It's
over the
likely to
week.
go up for the Turtles,
Yeah, it
honestly.
could go up. I mean, the Duckies are known for injuries. They don't have a good medical staff. Do you think it's
Mhm.
easy line for you, 34.5? Would you slam that if you were betting this week?
Yeah, I'm taking the over on the Turtles 100%.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah,
That's
that's
good to
that's a
hear.
lock. That's a
Well,
lock.
that's a lock. All right, we're gonna bring that in. We're gonna bring Joshua Roddy in later to analyze if that's really the case,
Mhm.
because
Oh,
it
that's
might all
that's
just be
Rod Bod's owner, right?
no, this week just Josh Roddy coming in.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just he's just the man, Josh Roddy. I think we had we definitely had the owner of the Rods Bods come in last week. But this is
Terrible organization.
wow.
Never,
Okay,
never will
okay,
be big three. Never will be
okay.
big three.
This is truly Overreaction Tuesday. The winningest team in the league right now is apparently terrible. All right.
Terrible.
Yeah, we're gonna be having Josh Roddy in here later to dissect some of these matchups. But Jack, loved getting your takes on a lot of these things. Loved having in
Mhm.
here talking about the Turtles and what you overreacted about, what you're looking forward to. Um, do you got anything else you want to say? I mean, we loved having you on, buddy.
Yeah, I appreciate it being here. It was a great time, but I honestly don't think I overreacted at all this entire segment. I think everything I said was very true. So
Reasonable.
yeah, it was very reasonable, very true, very honest, and yeah, excited to get ready for this week. Our guys are ready. We had the day off the other day, and ready to put in some work, ready
So
to stomp some duckies.
that's good. That's good. Last question. I just thought of it based on something you said. Who do you think has the worst team by far?
Oh, the worst team by
The
far.
worst team.
This is this is a hard question. Might be the hardest question you've asked me this entire time.
Mm-hmm. Because a lot of
I
people
mean,
are a lot of people would say the weenies, but I've heard from you that you really like the weenies. You like their owner, so it might not be.
yeah,
Honestly, if I'm looking at this team, I can't say it's the Pillas because their IR is riddled with stud athletes. For
yeah,
me, I'm going with the Bears. They're terrible. What do you?
that's what I'm thinking.
You're thinking the Bears?
Carson Wentz, Philip Lindsay, who's the RB2 now for Denver. Salvin Ahmed.
I don't even think he's
He
playing this
sounds
week.
he sounds Muslim. Tyler Lockett, diamond in the rough. Antonio Brown, nutcase. I wouldn't want him in my locker room.
Bad presence.
Hayden Hurst. I remember when we were drafting, and the Bears owner was like, Mark Andrews is going to be the tight end too. Look at Mark Andrews now.
Well, I'll tell you what. On that Hayden Hurst point, I remember over the offseason, the bare necessities were tooting Hayden Hurst's horn that he was going to come in and be better than Hooper was for the Falcons. He Hayden Hurst isn't even like Austin Hooper
He's
was
average.
the tight end one, the overall one tight end for 8 weeks of the season before his injury. Hayden Hurst is absolute doo doo butt cheeks.
He's had 2 games over 10 points, or
That's
three
horrible.
games.
That's horrible.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, great organization over there. Great team name, great mascot. No, you're a
No.
joke.
Yeah.
Give your team to Jack Curry.
Oh no. Oh man, that's a great way to close out. Give your team to Jack Curry, the Bears. I mean, I'm joking, of course. I'm trying to sit here and be impartial. I don't want you to leave the Bears.
No, I would never want the Bears to leave because I like having a bye week midway through the season.
Oh my gosh. All right. Thank you, Jack. Pleasure
Of
having you.
course.
We'll look forward to getting you on in the future.
Yeah. Thanks for
Away
having
from
me.
talking about your team. We might have you on talking about the bets in the future. We'll see. We
Mhm.
might have a big three segment next week, depending on how this frogs week goes. If they make it, we're definitely having a big three on next week,
Yeah, that'd be
and
awesome.
it'll be a hoot and a holler. I'll tell you
I
that
mean,
much.
honestly, I'm perfectly fine with becoming a host as well. I mean, I thought I did fantastic.
Okay, I'm dude. We're always looking for. I'm breaking up. Okay, we're always looking for more content, so we'll definitely look into that potential co-hosting bit. We got a lot of suitors out there. Anyways, appreciate you having Jack.
Thanks for
Great
having me,
takes.
Matt Don.
You're a lovely fellow. Honestly, if
Thank you.
I could put out a bid for you to be commissioner, I would. Uh,
I appreciate that. I'll start the movement. I'll text the committee. I'll let
Text
you
the
know how it
committee.
goes.
Tell me how it
I'll let you
is.
know how it goes.
Keep in touch, buddy. Loved
Mhm.
having you on. Have a great rest of your Overreaction Tuesday.
Thanks, man. You too.
What's up? Moving into the second section of this Overreaction Tuesday, we're bringing in Josh Roddy to look at the spreads and lines for this upcoming week 12. This is going to be a big week for a lot of teams trying to clinch playoff berth. So we'll look at some of those situations in a minute. But first, let's do a quick recap of week 11. All right. So last week we saw the Mafiosos covering versus the Bods, the Cheese Boards covering against the Screaming Turtles, the Duckies, uh, or the Turtles actually covered against the Cheese Boards. My bad, listeners. I've been reading these wrongs. All right. The Swines end up covering against the Duckies. The Pillas covered by 3 points on the Jollers, and the Peacocks, the Mighty Peacocks, covered against the Frogs, and the Weenie Wolves routed the Bears, and they ended up covering. Big week in terms of spreads was the Pillas. Owner Jacob Giller ended up getting three perfect matches this week. He takes the lead overall in terms of points. He's got about a 8 point lead, 10 point lead. We'll see how that comes out going into week 12. No, but it's great having you here, Josh.
Good
How
to
you
be
doing?
here.
Sweet. So I guess I'd just like to start off before we kind of get into this week's matchups. I'd just like to open the floor to you. You're kind of the playoff guru. Look at these the stats. See, tell me who clinched this week, or if any team did, and who's looking to clinch next week.
So this is a big week for the top 6 teams. Everybody did what they needed to. The Turtles, Peacocks, Mafiosos, and Swines all secured their spot. So they're all in. And now we're just looking at that last spot who the Frogs are holding right now.
Oh, so the Frogs. So who can get in that spot? The Frogs, the Cheese Boards, can the fantasy foot jollers and the Duckies, can they all make that right
They
there?
can. No one got eliminated last week. Everything happened the
Oh,
way it needed to for everybody except
whoa.
the Frogs. But the Frogs are still the favorite. All they
Okay.
have to do is win.
All they have to do is win. What
So if the
would
Frogs win, they're in.
Okay, who do you think ends up out of that spot?
So I think I think the Frogs have the clearest path. The Duckies are next because all they need is to win and the Frogs lose. So, but they have to play the Turtles.
They have to beat the
So
Turtles.
there's the Frogs can lose and still make it.
Hmm.
They just if they win,
What do the
then they're good.
what do the cheese boards have to have happen to make it? Because they're probably gonna win this week against
Yeah, the cheese boards have the hardest. They have to win and have the Frogs lose, and the Frogs have to score 56 fewer points than the cheese board. So they have to outscore the Frogs by 56 in a win. They have to have the Jawlers lose to the Bods, or the Jawlers can score 125 points less, which
That's not
that's
gonna
tight.
happen. That's not
And then
gonna
the
happen.
Duckies lose as well. So they have to have
Jeez.
all the bubble teams lose, and then outscore the Frogs by 56.
Well, I mean, it's a tall task for a lot of these teams. The Frogs obviously are the favorite to get in, but I talked to we had Jack Mitchell on earlier, owner of the Screaming Turtles, and he said that he is definitely guaranteeing that the Jawlers are going to pull out a dub this week.
Wow.
he said he said well he didn't guarantee it. He said he just was not going to be surprised in the slightest because the Jawlers step up in these moments.
It's true. They're big performers in rivalry
Hmm.
week. They for
Obviously,
them they need to win and then have the Frogs lose and score 32 more than the Duckies or have them lose. So their
that's
path
not
is pretty clear too. It's not too
yeah,
bad.
that's not terrible.
Their biggest deal is winning.
For sure. All right. So we're having Josh Roddy here, unbiased, unadulterated content. He's here as an analyst. We're going to start things off with the first matchup of the week. It's the Mafiosos Divigi versus the Caterpillar Gillas, otherwise known as the Pillas. All right. This is a 41.5 point favorites towards the Mafiosos on a slightly lower 200 point over under. Now the Chiefs have a tough Tampa Bay matchup, and I'm pretty sure that's like 60% of the Mafiosos team is on the Chiefs. And opportunity, David Montgomery is still in concussion protocol. Thielen might have COVID. Do you think all of these setbacks are going to sway the way that you're betting in this matchup?
So I'd still take the Mafiosos outright,
Mhm.
but I think with that 41.5 points,
It's a pretty
it's a pretty
beefy.
wide spread.
It's a beefy
But
one.
Stafford also might be out for
Okay.
the Pillas.
Yeah,
So, and if he's out, Burrow got hurt, and they
that's
have
tough.
nobody at quarterback. So
They might have
that's
to pick
that's a
up
tough
Jake
one.
Luton.
Yeah, yeah, they might, but or Ryan Finley, go pack.
Oh, okay, okay.
But
There we go. It's a little sneaky.
I wouldn't pick him up.
Hmm.
But no hate, but Stafford, it looks like Stafford practiced, so he should be good to go. For that one, I'm gonna have to go with the Pillars to cover,
Okay, okay.
though there's a lot of injury concerns in this one, and Thielen.
Yeah,
I think if everybody for the Mafiosos played, I'd take them, but
yeah.
I'm
We'll
gonna
see.
have to.
We'll
Yeah,
see
we'll see in the end of
as
the week.
those injuries come out. I'm pretty sure as of right now, Sleeper is projecting it at about a 110 to like 85 area. Um, And with everybody playing, past research shows mafiosos end up hitting around 120 points. Pillows end up getting around or I mean, not 100. They don't really get 100 points every. They get around 60 every week.
Yeah.
So I think the lines makers know exactly what this outcome might be because that's about a 40-point differential there.
Yeah, I might have to change that one when we get the injury report.
For sure. We'll look at that as the week goes on. But as of right now, you're liking the Pillas to cover. Justin Jackson's coming back. I think Austin Eckler also is looking to come back this week. Um, like, are the Pillas really a notable matchup for how you're betting? Do you usually try and take them because a lot of teams bet against them? Like, how do you look at the Pillas knowing that they're actively trying to get the first pick in the draft? You know?
So the way I see it, I know he's still trying to score points. It's just been a struggle all year for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I've bet on the Pillars, I think 3 out of 4 weeks, and
Mhm.
I have not gotten them right once. So,
All right, listeners, take this with a grain of salt.
so I would probably go the opposite of whatever I do.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yep.
That's good knowledge because it'll be tough. I mean, the Pillows don't usually break 80, but they got a few guys back, like I was saying. Hopefully, Stafford plays. It's a 41.5 spread. This is arguably, I'd have to look back at the past weeks, but arguably the largest spread there has been or is in contention for. Maybe the Turtles had one that might have been like 43 or 42 or something like that. Do you think this is a reasonable spread for the matchup, Josh, or do you think the lines makers are just out of their freaking minds?
I think it is reasonable.
Oh,
Yeah, like um,
yeah. So do you?
especially if the Mafiosos play. That's the
Yeah.
biggest. I don't think the Pillars. It's really. I don't think it's up to them.
Oh no, that's honestly the story of the Pillows this year. A lot of
It
injuries,
has been.
a lot of injuries. It's really just
Mhm.
like up to whoever they're playing, honestly.
Mhm.
Well, that's all right. We're looking at the Pillows to cover in this one, unless the Mafiosos all play.
Yeah.
And I mean we'll be eyeing that one as it comes closer. There's a lot of these matchups that some notable players are injured, coming off injuries. Like we're looking at in this next matchup, we got CMC for the Turtles versus the Ramblin' Rubber Duckies or the RR Duckies. Turtles are 34.5 point favorites on a 230 over under. I think Hunter is sneaky in this matchup in terms of betting. Now, for all terms of purposes, I don't think he wins because I think Jack's team is flying into the playoffs. I think they're flying in. They're ready to get that bye. But I think the Duckies are a little sneaky because I think they have some favorable matchups on their side in terms of Devonte Adams and Diggs and Chubb and Hunt. So, what do you think Hunter has a chance to cover against this monolith of the Turtles? Because yeah, go ahead.
So looking at projections, it's actually pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
The line is not, but
The line is not.
Sleeper likes the Duckies here.
Oh yeah,
Um,
and on the okay to ask. I don't have any boys in the back doing research for me because they all went on break for lunch. Anyways, I will ask you on the Turtles side, do they have anybody in their lineup that's hurt, or are they looking to put somebody else back in? Like, what's the deal there?
Mark Andrews is questionable, but it looks like he'll be good.
Yeah.
He got a big game against the Steelers there, so I'd expect him to play. As far as putting people back, I'm pretty sure McCaffrey is going to be out again this weekend. I wouldn't
Okay.
expect the Panthers to try to rush him back.
Okay.
So that looks like another Mike Davis at flex week for him.
For sure.
He could possibly put in Hollywood Brown, but
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see what he does there.
So I mean, for everything we're looking at, Sleeper thinks it'll be close. I mean, they've both teams, the Turtles and the Duckies have both covered 50% of their games. So the lines makers are really up in the air on this one. Do you think that you would just go the safe route and play the cover and play the Duckies covering here because that's such a large spread and the projections are favoring him?
Yeah, I think with this one, it's tough to take the Turtles to cover that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, they have the firepower to do it though,
Yeah,
so it wouldn't surprise me. But
for sure.
I think the Duckies fighting for their lives this week. I think they'll come out swinging. We'll see if they land any punches, but
Yeah. Who I guess this is a good question to ask because this matchup could be pretty high scoring, 230 over under. Who are your key players in this matchup? Obviously, we have Hill and Ridley on Turtles side, and then it's kind of matched up with Adams and Diggs. Uh, and then the running back battle is Chubb and Hunt versus Zeke and Dalvin. Like, in terms of the wide receiver battle versus the running back battle, who are your key players, and who do you think really is going to come out and push their team over top here?
I think for the covers, it comes down to the running backs. And
Mm.
the Duckies have a lot riding on the Browns, which
Yeah, they
for
do.
better or for worse, they've got when you're starting two running backs on the same team, you got to have a good week there.
And who did the Browns play this week?
The Jaguars, so that's a good matchup.
Oh, that's a great matchup.
So, but if Jacksonville comes out and has a surprisingly good performance, it could be
Yeah,
rough for the Duckies. But
yeah.
and I think also for the Duckies at quarterback right now they're starting Alex Smith, which
Oof, oof,
if
oof.
will they stick with that or will they switch to Baker Mayfield? But not not great options there.
Yeah.
I've also been hearing some rumors that the Duckies might be talking some trades through. So we'll see what comes of
Oh,
that. But that could have a huge effect
this
on
is this is
the
the
betting
worst
lines.
time for my boys in the back to be on break right
Mm-hmm.
now. They usually feed me that info. I can't believe it.
Got to get Schefter in here next time.
Oh, I do gotta get Schefter in here. I have no idea who that guy is, but he's been pumping out solid content. We love him in the league. I'll do some research into Schefter, see if we can get him on next time. So what about those wide receivers? You think it's just going to be totally even? Because Devontae and Diggs, I think, are both top 5 receivers. They were last week. I'm not sure how it came
Yeah, I
out
think
this week.
Diggs has dropped out of the top five a little bit, but still
Hmm.
up there in wide receiver one territory.
Yeah.
I think the Duckies have the advantage at receiver here,
Hmm.
but I don't know if it's enough to make up for
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook and Zeke.
For sure, and especially the quarterback differential as
Yeah.
well. We don't really know anything. I mean,
Lamar
34 and a
against
half.
Pittsburgh though. I
Yeah,
mean,
he does awful against Pittsburgh. In I'll tell you what, if any of you listening out there do daily fantasy, I will always be taking the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Ravens, even though it's like a terrible choice because the Ravens score a lot. I feel like the Steelers always are bringing in the firepower. Anyways, 34 and a half. We talked about it. This one might not be a reasonable difference for how things are turning out. I would not be surprised as the week went on, as you're getting in Wednesday, some news about practice and weather updates are coming out. I wouldn't be surprised Wednesday night or Thursday morning if this line rotated more and more towards the Duckies in this matchup. Maybe looking not as far as like a 20-point spread, but maybe like in that 24 range, 25 range, because the Duckies the last 3 weeks have not been scoring a lot, even though their projections say they do. They've been underperforming. So I would be looking for the Duckies in this matchup. Honestly, they're very sneaky because they've been on a downturn. Would you agree with all that sentiment, or you got anything
Yeah,
else?
yeah, I definitely would.
Sweet. Um, Next, we're looking at the Peacocks versus the Bear Necessities. The big bad Cocks coming in at 30.5-point favorites on 210 over under. And I'll tell you what, I am 100% taking the under on this 210. The Peacocks are barely scoring 110 each week these last couple of weeks. The Bears notoriously score like 60 a week. They're awful.
Yeah.
Are you scared of Tyler Lockett if you're the Peacocks? You know, this may be a little biased because the very close friend of mine had a traumatic experience at the hands of Tyler Lockett 4 weeks ago. They were gonna win, and Tyler Lockett went for like 45 or something like that. Are you scared of what Lockett can do if you're the Cox?
That's the one guy. um, so if you're looking at the other team here, if you're the Peacocks scouting your opponent, that's really the one guy you got to lock down. I mean, other than that, I hate to say it, but there's not much there.
That's the story of the Bear Necessities for you in the year.
Maybe Wentz can decide he's a real quarterback and
That's
get the
true.
ball to Fulgham, but I'm starting
That's not.
Seattle's defense next week
Yeah,
against Philly.
that's for sure. I mean, it is a lot of favorable matchups for like both sides of the coin here. A lot of games versus pretty poor defenses. Do you think the addition of Singletary and possibly Gallman to the Bears lineup is gonna even match like the addition of Josh Allen or Kenny Galladay if he comes back off of whatever injury's nagging him right now?
I mean, I'm looking at it. Uh, I really don't see any way the Bears
Is
have a chance here.
Were the Bills on bye last week? I believe
I
I believe that Greaves had started Derek Carr last week,
I
and I
think they
didn't
were.
I didn't
Yeah, they
look
were.
into it as much because of outside busyness, but they could have been on bye, or Greaves was just playing that matchup game against the Chiefs, knowing that Carr torched them week like 5 or something like that. So
The Bills were on a bye.
the Bills were on a bye. Thank you, man.
Mhm.
Again, third time, guys in the back, really missing them right now.
Hey, I respect you
Anyways,
for giving them the Thanksgiving holiday.
yeah, that's what it was. Definitely not forcing them to work,
Nope.
and they're just on lunch break. That's definitely not the that's definitely not the issue.
Lunch break at 2 p.m.
Yeah, they've been known to pretty late eaters. Anyways, any player strike your interest in this one? I mean, I guess on the Greaves side of the ball, do you think Aaron Jones plays well? I mean, he hasn't been notorious for these last few weeks. He's been pretty under the radar in my opinion. You think anybody on the Peacock side of the ball goes crazy and wins this week for him outright?
So there's a lot of Seattle and Eagles players in this matchup on both sides. You got Miles Sanders over there. I
Mm-hmm.
think one of them, somebody's got to score points for the Eagles.
Yeah,
So I think I don't know who, but one of them is going to have a big week, whether
that's
it's
true.
Sanders or Fulgham or Wentz.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then aside from that, I think Gibson against Dallas might be a pretty good play there.
Oh yeah, Antonio Gibson. That's also a sneaky flex that Gweave's been doing. He doesn't he I guess for the purposes of his who's his RB2 on his team? Is he have Todd Gurley in that spot or
He has Aaron Jones and Miles Sanders
Miles Sanders.
as his two right now.
So he usually plays 4 running backs. The monopoly of the running backs in the Peacock organization is out of hand, what I've been hearing. Anyways, we'll get into that another day. 30.5. Do you think this spread is unreasonable? Do you think the Peacocks easily do this? Personally, before you answer, I honestly think that'll bump towards the Peacocks as Thursday approaches. I think it might even get up to like 36, depending on some injuries and some weather. Like you said, everything is that those Seattle and Philly players. So, what are you thinking in this matchup?
So I don't think 30 is too much for him.
Yeah.
Looking at the Bears, they haven't. Did they score 50 last week? They did. They did. So
Yeah.
they've averaged 53 the last 2 weeks, which they're projected for I think around 80. So if we take them underperforming there, the Peacocks would have beaten them by 38 last week.
Jeez.
And would have beaten them by I think by 60 the week before.
Mm-hmm.
So
I will say the only time the Bears have covered came in week 8 versus the Swines on a 30-point spread, just about. So we could see a repeat of that, or we could not.
Lockett's the guy to watch. If
Lockett
Lockett has
is
a
the-
monster week, then they can cover.
I genuinely think that Lockett accounts for 50% of his points every week.
Well, if you're scoring 50, yeah.
No, so anyways, that'll be a tough one. We're feeling like Peacocks in that one. Obviously, we'll look towards whether that spread grows or diminishes towards Thursday, but right now the Peacocks are looking pretty safe in that one. Big matchup next. This one is for playoff berth, obviously. A few of them are, but this one is the one we're going to be looking at very closely, the Swines and the Frogs. Now, the Swines are 18.5-point favorites in this one on a 220 over-under. There's some tough matchups, though, for some of the players on the Swines. They have Chicago, Denver, Indianapolis, New England, all of those defenses on some of their key positional players. Do you think that the Swines end up hitting their projected points? And if they do, is that 18.5 easy for them, or or is that going to be a tough one?
So they also don't have a tight end in right now. So we'll see if they fix that. I assume they will. It looks like they have Tyler Eifert on the bench, so that shouldn't be a whole lot of points. But
boys in the back came back from lunch.
Oh, good.
I believe they said the Swines are thinking about not starting a tight end this week because they're going to ego win against the Peacocks. I don't know.
Wow.
We'll see. The commissioner, Jack Mitchell, had a lot to say about the commissioner earlier in the show. So we'll see if the commissioner throws his hand down and makes him start a tight end. I'm not sure it'll. I actually think it does affect a lot of things. Anyways, what were you gonna say?
I was just saying the past few weeks, it seemed like the Frogs have been fighting, but their points scored hasn't really matched their effort, I don't think.
Yeah.
So they gotta find a way to make that attitude turn into execution.
For sure.
So DK Metcalf against the Eagles. We'll see if they lock anything up, but that's a big Monday night game for our league right now.
I will say there's a lot of implications of DK in this matchup, whether he goes off or whether he drops a lot of passes again. What are the implications of Kyler Murray and his possible injury? Because he was struggling last week. If he's injured, do you think the Frogs score nearly as much as they need to? You know,
if he's hurt, he's the lifeblood of the Frogs.
Yeah.
He is King Frog.
He is King Frog.
And without him, They got Daniel Jones, and he's
Yeah.
a solid player, but Kyler brings more to the team than just his points.
Is Kyler QB1 on the season? Do you know? Boys
He
in the
is.
back are telling me. Okay, nice. You
He
can
is.
confirm it is as
Yeah.
well. QB1 on the season. Kyler is the lifeblood, points wise and leadership wise. He's been on the team since the inception. He's been starting since the inception of the ferocious frogs. So Kyler is a necessity in this matchup if they want to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, do you think the Frogs cover? Because they got to make the playoffs. It's the question everybody's asking. Can the Frogs cover and cover well enough to win outright and really put their mark on their position, as the big three? That's what we want to know. He's in the big three.
Yeah.
Apparently he's in the big three. We had Jack on earlier, said some major disappointment towards Reed because, as a part of the big three, you can't just limp into the playoffs. You got to be in and you got to be in strong. Do you think the Frogs are listening to what Jack is saying and they're going all out to win this game?
I think they'll go out and give it their all, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Oof, you don't like to hear that.
I don't know about the spread. They might cover because
it is.
I do think Kyler comes out and plays. He's gonna give everything he's got, even if he's hurt.
Yeah.
Going for the Frogs. I know that's all he's thinking about is his team. But I don't think the Frogs will win outright.
Yeah.
But I think they still make the playoffs.
Okay. Because of some other things, possible losses from other teams. I like that. I like that take. Now, 18.5 points for the Swines. He doesn't have his tight end in. Honestly, I'm not sure where the lines makers are coming at this point from. Like, are they assuming the Swines are going to score 120 and maybe the Frogs go for like 100? Or maybe it's 100 and because it's a 220 over under, you have to think that the lines makers think that this is going to be relatively high scoring. This one's tough for me. Honestly, I'm leaning towards the Swines on the under because I don't know.
There's a lot of there are not many good matchups in this game.
They're not.
I think Landry versus the Jaguars might be the best one, but even if Kyler plays, they're playing the Patriots, and even though their defense isn't the same as it was last year,
still pretty good.
It's still pretty good, and they control the ball on offense.
Yeah.
And so they're just not good for opposing QBs. Aside from that, they got Cooper Kupp for the Swines against San Fran. That's another bad matchup.
Yeah.
Michael Thomas against Denver. Denver's an underrated matchup because they've been bad this year. So he could get those points. Depends on the quarterback there.
Yeah, that's the big question mark because I mean he played all right. I don't know his stats last week, but the Saints offense wasn't nearly the same as it was when Drew Brees was playing.
Yeah, he still had 17 last week, which is still good. It's about what you expect from him.
Yeah.
But it depends on what they'll do, and if the Saints get up early, will they keep him in coming off his injuries?
Oh, yeah. Especially since they're probably already.
Yeah, and they're looking good for the playoffs.
They're probably. I don't know if they're in the run for a first round bye or anything. So we'll see how that goes. I don't like any of this. I don't like any of this matchups for the Swines and the Frogs. I'm really hesitant, but like I said, I would probably do the Swines to cover on under 220. Everybody else, make sure to do the opposite.
Yep.
So I can beat the house. Anyways, fifth matchup out of 6. We got arguably going to be the spiciest one. besides the Swines versus Frogs. This is the Rods Bods versus the Fantasy Foot Jawlers. All right. Now, I'm not sure on the stats, but I think the Jawlers might have beat Bods every time they've played each other. Care to
Yeah, I can
correct me?
confirm. The
You can
Jawlers are
confirm.
3-0 against
The
the Bods.
Jawlers are 3-0 against the
They
Bods.
have all been close though, if I
They
remember.
have. That's good though. That's good because that's good insight. The Bods are getting the nod this week in 25.5 point favorites on 240. So I believe this is the highest over under of the week. There's no notable injuries or buys really. The Jawlers just always seem to pull out some sort of magic and grit against the
They
Bods.
rise. If there's any team in this league that rises to their opponent, it's the Jawlers. They can lose to anybody, but they can also beat anybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean that'll be it's completely necessary for them to try and make the playoffs because apparently they have a pretty
It is a steep road.
a steep road for the Jawlers to make the playoffs. Um, that info is insanely important though because they have to win this week. They don't have to. They don't need to cover. They have to win.
They have to.
So 25.5. Honestly, if I'm looking at pure statistics and points scored on the year, I think that is too low. I think it should favor the Bods at like at least 32 points. But I think the lines makers are looking at the past matchups and they're adjusting for the ability of the Jawlers to really play up and spite the Bods.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about this one?
I don't know where it's gonna come from, but there's no way I bet against the Jawlers here. There's no logical reason, but I feel like the Jawlers are gonna be my slam.
Okay, that's really tough. I wouldn't be surprised if this if as the week went on this spread got bigger and bigger actually. I think the lines makers are might be playing it a little too emotional. I don't know. We'll see. Uh
Hopefully Julio plays.
yeah, that'll
That
be
would be a
tough.
big
We'll
hit.
we'll definitely be looking at that as the week goes on because the lines will definitely adjust if Julio's out because I don't even know if what would the Jawlers have to play like Jalen Goyton behind him or something like that.
Yeah, they could move Robbie Anderson or Claypool up and then put in Fournette or
Okay,
maybe
so basically worthless.
Judy. But
Ooh, okay, Jerry Judy, I don't
yeah,
mind
they've got
that.
some decent depth. It's not quite there this year, but they've got some decent depth coming up.
Jawlers are they're pretty average in terms of covering 50%. Most teams in the league are 50% in covering.
Means whoever's
Except
making the spreads is doing it pretty well.
That's what I like to hear, I guess, because the lines makers they're on the hot seat in terms of getting the boot. All right, here we go. Who do you think are the highest scores from this matchup? Do you think this hits the over on 240? Because it's obviously the highest one of the week. Do you think it's going to go crazy, or do you think like the Bods are a little lackluster walking into the playoffs and they end up scoring a little lower, and the Jawlers match that? What are you thinking?
I think the Bods got caught last week looking ahead in the
Mm,
schedule. I
mm-hmm,
think they
mm-hmm,
overlooked the Mafiosos, who are in their own right another strong team.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think this week they got to focus up, and I think they come back strong. But again, I think the Jawlers find a way to match it. So I would take the over.
Okay.
This game's gonna be crazy.
I also believe this game should be crazy.
There's
Um,
no telling what happens.
you're picking the Jawlers here. I think this is way too small of a spread. I think the Bods easily cover. We'll see as the week goes on. I feel like it's one of those things that it's just like you never bet against Bill Belichick. I feel like it's one of those things you never bet against the Jawlers into a Bods matchup. You know, it's like
Hmm.
one of those things. That, yeah, I don't know. This one will be tough. I'm really on the fence between this matchup and the Swines matchup. These are going to be really hard to guess, but obviously it's the Dirty Slam podcast, so we're putting out choices. I'm taking the Swines and the Bods to cover. I'm going with
Wow.
the favorites this week. I'm really feeling the favorites along all of these matchups, except for the Peacocks one earlier I mentioned. Anyways, moving on to the last matchup, the Cheese Boards versus the Weenies. This one, I mean, it's a 200 over under because the Weenies have made some questionable trades before the deadline, but it's put them in a chance to win more games. So I guess, is it really questionable if they're winning? We'll see. Time will tell. Cheese Boards 15.5 favorites on a 200 over under. Um, does the knowledge of the Cheese Boards, like, on the border, they have a really tough road? Do you think they try and really go after some guys at the deadline to maybe push for that playoff spot, or do you think they're just sitting and waiting for next year?
I think for them it's too little, too late.
Yeah.
I don't. They could make improvements, but I don't know if they should because they're looking at they need to win, but they've been gifted with an easier matchup. So
hmm
I wouldn't be surprised if the Wolves go off this week. They
The Wolves went for
seemingly are
100
winning at the
last
end of the
week.
year. Yeah, they would have won by 50. They would have doubled the cheese board score last week.
hmm
So I wouldn't be surprised if the Wolves have another good week. But the cheese boards need the frogs, jollers, and duckies to lose, and that's the hardest thing. I don't think winning is even the hardest thing for them
The
to make the playoffs.
Frogs, Jawlers, and Duckies. Those are all reasonable losses though,
They are.
because the Turtles and the Swan the Turtles and the Bods, that is, have a pretty solid shot at winning. The Swines one, that one will be tough, honestly. I mean, even the Jawlers, we just talked about it. That'll be tough for the Cheese Boys to make it, especially if they're scoring like 50 a week, you know?
hmm Yeah,
Um,
that would definitely be. They're definitely on the outside looking in right now. That would be the hardest one. I think they
yeah,
also need to score 50 more points than the frogs.
jeez. So they're
So
gonna have to put
yeah,
up like 130, honestly,
yeah.
at least.
So thinking about that, I wasn't thinking about the point differential. Oh, it looks like DeAndre Swift is out, which that would hurt.
I've been hearing boys in the back are saying he might be back this week. They're playing it by ear, I think, unless something came out recently and the boys in the back are off their money. Um,
Yeah, he didn't practice yesterday, but the
mhm,
official reports don't come out until
yeah,
Wednesday.
because they have a short week this week. They play on Thanksgiving, right? Or is that a
Yeah, you're
different team?
right. Ooh, yeah, that makes it tough.
I believe that a lot of players are resting on have rested on Monday and might even rest today too, and then get one practice in or something like
Yeah.
that. Um, we'll see as that comes out. We obviously, time will tell on this matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if this got shorter and thinner of a spread. Obviously, the lines makers cannot flip the favorites here, but I think I'm going with the Weenie Wolves in this one because I think they're probably guaranteed at least another 80, 90 points, maybe even 100 again. And I just don't think the Cheese Boards have that good of a squad. Like, who did it? Mark Ingram's getting like 3 carries a game.
Yeah, they don't even have Mark Ingram in anymore.
Yeah, it's
Oh, Mark
tough.
Ingram's out this week. He's got COVID.
Yeah,
Him
I
and Dobbins too for the Pillars.
okay, yeah. I was wondering about Dobbins, if he had COVID or if they're gonna test him until the
They've at
game
least
time.
been. I don't know if they have it, but they're on the
Yeah,
COVID list.
they'll probably be testing up until the game to see if they got it, or it might come out sooner. I mean, are you liking the cheese boards here because of the knowledge of the playoffs, or do you like the weenies because of these consistent weeks they've put up the past 2 or 3 weeks?
I think the cheese board are the opposite of the frogs and jollers. I think
Yeah,
the playoffs looming over their heads is more negative in this case because they
yeah,
know how much has to happen,
mm-hmm.
and I think that's got them down. And they didn't score last week. It was probably the worst week of in their organization's history.
Jeez.
just it was rough. It was
Yeah.
rough to see. But the weenies, their coaches have got them fired up for this at the end of the year,
Oh
and
yeah.
maybe they're gaining some momentum. So we'll have to
Mm-hmm,
see how they
mm-hmm.
come out, how they finish, and then if that can carry over to next season.
Yeah. Now, if like if the world ends or whatever, and the weenies end up not winning this game, I think it's just impossible at this point for the cheese boards to make it. It's definitely not impossible, but it'll be tough to make the playoffs. I don't think this is a reasonable spread. I think the lines makers went out of their mind and thought the cheese boards are that much better than the weenie wolves, but the weenies are sneaky. They're sneaky, but they're not the sneak of the week. All right, we'll get that. We'll clear that up. The dirty slam of the week. I'm gonna say it. This is not Josh Roddy's slam. This is not his sneak. This is the dirty slam. Mine is the mafiosos at 41.5 over the Pillas. I really think
Woo!
that the mafiosos go for like 130 this week. I don't think the Pillas can get over 80. I think this is easy 41.5. It's going to hurt a lot of bettors this week because nobody's going to want to bet against that humongous spread. That'll be a tough one this week. The lines makers are going to make a lot of money on this one. My sneak is the Bods not covering because, like we said earlier, the Jawlers are notorious for beating the Bods, and I just really think it'll happen. No, I don't think it'll happen again, but I think they'll cover. I think the Jawlers will cover. I don't think they'll win, but they'll cover. What say you, Josh? What's your slam of the week?
I'm taking the Jawlers. I think
Oh,
I think they're making that a close matchup.
okay,
I
okay.
think the Bods have to win if they want success in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm,
There's a mental block there for
mm-hmm.
some reason. I think they got to. I think they got to come out on top of that one if they want any hope of a championship, which I know is what they're looking for. Been talking to their coaching staff. I
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
will say for the dirty slam of the week, my analytics people are telling me that it has yet to hit. So
Oh, the dirty
0-4.
slam, the dirty slam of the week. It's been notorious for not hitting, but that's the thing is when the going gets tough, the tough get going. I I don't know what
Okay.
the
That applies here.
you know what they say, like ravioli. When you're in the mix, you got to give me the formuoli.
Yeah.
So we're going with the mafiosos because they're like family. I heard. Man Week 1.0. It should have been a victory, but me and Jack talked about it earlier. The front office of the mafiosos are absolute imbeciles, idiots. Why would
Those are
you
rough
ever?
times.
Why would you ever not start DJ Moore? Anyways, Man Week 1.0 should have been a win. Man Week 2.0 got in there, crushed the Bods. They season high 160 or whatever. Mafioso's best outing of their young careers. Some are saying boys in the back. They're telling me it might turn into man month. All right.
Ooh,
It might turn into man month. If that happens, I'm going with the mafiosos in every single matchup.
wow. They
Now
they did clinch the playoff spot last week. So
they
does
did
that take any
clinch.
fire off?
They did clinch. I don't think it does because they're a little salty that their front office really didn't believe in some of their players. I think the players are really just angry right now at the coaches and the GM, and they're playing out of anger at this point.
So you
Uh,
think their anger at their coaches doesn't pull the team apart? It motivates. So maybe it was a good coaching decision.
it's bringing them together at this point. I mean, Adam Thielen went for like 2 touchdowns last week. DJ Moore had like 140. Deontay had 110. I think my team really just plays better when
I
they're
heard
pissed off.
from my people that Thielen might have been involved in trade talks, and then he goes off. So,
Oh
but now he
no.
has COVID,
Yeah.
or he's on the
No.
list at least.
Thielen was boys in the back definitely telling me Thielen was on the block 2 weeks ago, last week, because the mafiosos were afraid of not making the playoffs and they needed to recuperate some picks, is what I've been hearing. But I think they've committed to their team, and Thielen has shown that he's good regardless of his age. So we'll see if the mafiosos cover that 41.5. Now, do you have a sneaky matchup of the week? And if so, you're gonna have to tell me it in a riddle on the spot.
Mm.
I'll give you about 5 seconds to come up with a riddle of your sneaky pick of the week.
Well, this is gonna be the worst riddle ever.
It's all right. I still don't understand what Ryan's was last week. It made no sense to me whatsoever. So it could be gibberish for all we know, as long as it has value to you.
Well, in my eyes, you got to look for those that metamorphosize.
Oh, that's a really good one. Okay, wait, I hate that one because it goes against. Never mind. Never mind.
What? I don't know what you're talking about. It's a riddle. No one can figure that one out.
Yeah, nobody can figure that one out. All right.
I will say, I think I am in last place in the betting from everybody that
Yeah.
actually puts them in every week. So everything I say, do the exact opposite, and you'll probably win.
You are last place, and a person above you, actually 2 people above you, did not put in bets last week, or 2 weeks
Oh.
ago. So
Yikes.
it's not looking good for you, Judge Roddy. But you know what? This is why we had you on. Everybody's gonna choose the opposite of what you say.
I'm
Now,
just here to make the sports book money.
exactly. The lines makers appreciate you. I don't, because I'm trying to take all their money. I want to bankrupt them. That's what the Dirty Slam is for. So, last thing I want to ask you is, with everything in mind, who are your 6 to make the playoffs? Obviously, there are 5 already in it. Who's your last guy you're putting in there at the number 6?
I want to say the Jawlers. I want to, but I can't. I think the Frogs are just going to hold on.
Okay.
I think everybody that is on the bubble might lose this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm
which
thinking too.
would work for the Frogs.
Yeah, that'll be tough. That'll be tough for the Jawlers. It should be pretty easy for the Frogs to get in if they have the want to and the moxie. Because so it's looking like the Bods and the Turtles are likely to get first round buys unless something crazy banana bonkers happens.
If the Turtles lose,
yeah,
then everybody behind them has a chance. Well, not everybody, but
I think it would just be the Peacocks have a chance
Peacocks,
to get that.
Or
buy.
if something crazy happens and the mafiosos go off for like 200.
Well, I think the Peacocks and the Turtles would have to lose for the mafiosos.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Which could happen. No, it couldn't. The Peacocks played the
odds
Bears.
Of that.
The Peacocks played the Bears.
Oh yeah, never mind.
So I think the Peacocks.
There's no chance.
Or I think the Turtles are likely guaranteed this first round bye. So I think the Bods are going to end up having that first round bye, and then they'll go into, what would that be? The Mafiosos Swines matchup, I believe.
Yeah, which that would be interesting. There's a lot of matchup games that can be played here.
Yeah.
Like, would the Bods rather have the 2 seed and face the Peacocks Frogs winner, or?
I would. If I was the Bods, I would much rather have that Peacocks winner, because those teams are looking pretty bad going into the playoffs, I'll tell you.
Some interesting strategy there. Do the Bods lose on purpose to the Jawlers? Maybe the Jawlers.
I'll tell you what. Commissioner is going to have a ruckus if the Bods lose on purpose.
The Bods might not lose on purpose either, because they're playing the Jawlers and they can't win.
Yeah, it's true. The Jawlers just might win on purpose.
I know my people at the Bods are definitely nervous about this week, because they've been looking at that 1 seed for a while.
Yeah.
They're right there, and they just haven't been able to do it yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All right, man. It's been great having you on here talking these matchups and the slams and the sneaks of the week. We appreciate, as always, your brain We love what you're bringing to the table here. If you're listening right now, take the opposite of everything this man just said. We appreciate you, Joshua Roddy.
Thanks for having me.
Have a good day, brother.